Hi everyone, welcome to Yin Yoga. Please grab a couple of pillows, yoga blocks if you have them, a blanket or a beach towel. And we're going to start with a setup. We're going to go right into a restorative posture. And this one is for a lateral lengthening of the torso. So towards the rear edge of your mat, please grab a couple of blocks or something that you can elevate the pillow on to, like about this height, which is the lowest height of the blocks. And you want it to be pretty stable, so you'll stack them wide width crossing your mat, or not stack them and place them side by side, tracing the midline of your mat, and then place the pillow on top so it's squishy. And then you'll want a folded blanket or another pillow that's going to be more like a hip spacer. So if your hips are a bit wide, you'll want a folded blanket, and then vice versa. So let's have a seat towards the middle of your mat, right hip flush against the rear edge of that stacked pillow. And then we'll extend the right leg forward towards the right wall. And then the left leg is going to be towards the front of your mat. So you have this L shape. And then this left leg is actually going to be resting on top of that hip spacer at the thickness that you need. So we're going to turn onto our right side of our torso. We're going to drape that right side down the midline of that pillow, extending the right arm towards the rear edge of your mat, and then reaching the left arm overhead. And that's what's going to create more of that lengthening of your left side body. Now you could bend the left elbow, and if you want, you can hold on to the elbow with your right hand, or you can just let your palms come together almost like you're diving into the ocean. And then now this left leg, you can adjust to see just what part of your left side body you want to focus on opening up. If it's more of the lower back, you may want to rotate the left leg a little more forward, or that's an internal rotation of the thigh. If you want a little more of the front side of the hip flexor, you'll lean further back, so the left hip bone slightly points towards the sky. And then so just find what works for you. You may need to fold the pillow underneath your head so that, that feels a lot more comfortable. And then I'm going to go ahead and set the timer here for 2.5 minutes before we switch sides. So as you begin to settle into stillness, turn your attention to whatever it's drawn to first, whether it's your physical body, any particular sensation, or it's your breathing, just however you're breathing naturally, or maybe it's a lingering thought. As you're settling in here, just notice what arises to the surface of your attention. So this is our second day focusing on the fourth of 8 limbs of yoga. And that fourth limb is called pranayama, and it is the breathing techniques of the yoga practice. I'd like to read this excerpt from Meditations from the Mat, written by Rolf Gates and Katrina Kennison. It starts with a quote by Baron Baptiste. "If you are in the now, you'll know how." And here is the extract. Limbs of tapas, or action, bind us to the moment. They are the actions taken or not taken in the present. The yamas, that's the first limb of yoga, do away with those negative actions that create remorse about the past and fear about the future. The niyamas, that's the second limb of yoga, take the energy freed up by the yamas and channel it into actions that promote health in ourselves and others. The asana, that's the third limb of yoga, simultaneously teach us to stay with the matter at hand while deconstructing the personality flaws that induced us to hide out in our imaginations in the first place. Pranayama, this fourth limb of yoga, trains the mind to concentrate on one point while further refining our physical and emotional health. Consistent practice of these four limbs teaches us to live in the moment. Let's take one last deep breath here on this side. Exhaling through your mouth. Now, with the help of your left hand pressing the floor in front of you, gently lift your torso, come on up slowly to sit, and just leave the props right where they are. We're going to extend both legs to face the front of your mat so that you're resting your right leg on your hip spacer, that pillow or folded blanket, and then slide your left leg towards your left wall. So now again, you have an L shape out of your legs, and then you'll turn so that the left hip is up against the pillow, this platform pillow. And then you'll drape the left side of your torso over it, tracing the midline of the pillow, raising your right arm overhead. Now you could catch hold of the right elbow with your left hand. You could bring the palms towards each other. You could fold the pillow underneath your skull so that it's a little higher. And then notice how you might want to adjust your right leg, centering more opening on the lower back. You could tilt the right hip bone forward, centering the opening more on the front of the hip flexor. You could tilt the right hip bone back. See if you can aim for some sort of balance in what you did on the first side. And then situating here, again for 2.5 minutes. Begin to deepen your breath. Inhaling through your nose. Any sound that needs to come out, feel free, open the mouth a few more times. So continuing with this reading, a simple way to get started is to focus on your breath, either in a posture in meditation or just while commuting to work. Note the experience you are having as you imagine your day or go over something that happened yesterday. What is your experience of yourself? Now remember or imagine a best case scenario in which you do a very good deed. What is your experience of yourself even in that peak, best case, imagined moment? Then return to the breath. Feel your entire body as you breathe. Listen to the sounds around you. And stay with that long enough to fully arrive in the moment. What is your experience of yourself? This is the work of the first four limbs. It is learning to live in the moment, from the heart, in the light of our spirit. It is not about retreating from or shunning the stress and responsibilities of everyday life. Rather, it is the practice of embracing our reality with all our heart. But, if you are in the now, you'll know how. But, if you are in the now, you'll know how. We are divine consciousness. As long as we are connected to that truth, what could possibly go wrong? Still deepening your breath. Yesterday, we visualized our torso from the base of the spine, the pelvic floor to the neck as a container, like a jar that you're pouring the breath into from the bottom up, from the bottom of the pelvis, slowly through the lower torso, slowly through the entire rib cage, and filling up to the throat. And then seeing the breath as you exhale come down from the upper torso, from the mid-torso, and to the bottom of your pelvis. Take one more breath here. Gently pressing the ground in front of you. Let's rise up to sit. We're going to come into another restorative pose before we get into more directed breath work. So leave the platform that was supporting the pillow, and we're just going to turn the pillow across the mat. So it's a bit wider. What we're making here is basically a miniature bed that we're going to hang off of to open up the chest. And the shoulders are going to cascade down, and they may or may not touch the ground on the other side. Now this hip spacer, you can move aside. We'll step the feet on the mat so the knees are bent, and then carefully lying back. Depending on the platform that's under your pillow and the length of your torso, mine's not too long, your pelvis may be up on that platform too, or might be towards the ground. And just make sure you're not causing any feeling of constriction in your lower back or even pain or discomfort. You may need to space out the blocks under the pillow if you have a longer torso, unlike mine. You could do this, make a little bridge, and then see if that will allow. So again, the chest is open, the shoulders are descending, head is on the ground, and your arms could either be like a cactus shape where you bend your elbows apart, turn the palms face up. You could raise your arms overhead if you have room to, catch hold of opposite elbows overhead, but dropping the arms to rest on the ground. Or you could have your arms wide open. Now listen to just how you're breathing now. We're not yet really controlling the breath. Just observing. You're going to be here for just another minute and a half in this position. And as you've changed positions in your physical body, does your natural breathing seem to change? It may or may not. I look at the yoga practice as a constant experiment. What we bring to the mat, we bring to the table, whatever we've done throughout the day, how we've moved our bodies, what we focused on in our minds, in our energy. And then that's what we have to work with now. How is all of that affecting the way you're breathing in this moment? Can you feel your breath expanding in the back of your body, like the back of your ribcage? Do you feel it expand into your lower back? Perhaps you feel it more at your nostrils, or at your throat, or across your collarbones at your sternum. Let's finish one more deep breath here. And then whether you want to lift yourself forward or roll over to one side, find a gentle way to rise up, and let's find a comfortable seat for a more directed pranayama. So you may want to elevate your pelvis on something like a pillow or blanket, or not. Just take a moment to situate your body with an intention. Feel your pelvis and just shift your weight around it for a moment. Whatever surface is beneath your pelvis, tilt forward and feel more of your pubic bone, the front of your pelvis, weighing down on that surface. And then lean to one sitting bone, left or right. Lean back towards the rear edge of your pelvis. And then to the other sitting bone, left or right. And then perhaps circling your torso a few times as you explore those 4 points. Also a way to warm up the spine and the hips. And then circle in the opposite direction. Can you imagine that you have a lifesaver floating device or hula hoop floating around you, and your rib cage, the lowest ribs, are trying to touch the inner circumference of that lifesaver or hula hoop. And then as you arrive at your center, truly feel how you plant your left and right sitting bones. Feel how you balance your weight on the front and back of your pelvis. With that sense of anchoring downward, letting your left hand rest on your chest, letting your right hand rest on your lower abdomen. Take a deep breath, and can you pour the breath into your lower torso near your pelvic floor? Let the breath rise into your mid-torso, through the sides of your ribcage, back and front. Rise to the top of your chest, at your throat, filling all the way to the top. Sip in a little more. Keep lifting your spine, and as you exhale to your mouth, soften any tension. Let the shoulders release downward. Again, inhaling through your nose, pour the breath into your lower torso, bottom of the pelvic floor, slowly lifting through the rib cage, all four walls of the ribs, slowly lifting to the top of your chest, your throat, even your shoulder blades. Sip in a little more if you can, expanding 360 degrees, bottom and top. Open your mouth and draw the breath out. Feel free to make any sound. See the breath releasing, coming back down the torso, down to the base of your spine. Crown of the head still rising, spine still tall, without rigidity. And then try that one more time, visualizing pouring the breath into the jar of your torso. Try to feel the backs of your lungs, expand the back wall of your ribcage too. And when you think you've filled up to the top, see if you could sip in a little bit more. Any releasing sound, let it all go. Seeing the breath descend as it releases from your body. Now, before we do a more controlled breathing practice, some of riti, pranayama, which is called box breathing, let's take a moment to set our intentions for this practice, or make a dedication or a personal prayer. Perhaps you join your hands together at your heart, bowing in. And as a way of sending out that prayer or intention and connecting with each other from wherever you're live streaming or watching from, let's join our voices in 3 chants of Om, bringing the fervor of that intention setting to your chant. Take a deep inhale. Breathe in, out to your mouth, and release your hands. So if there's a part of your body that you may have noticed today that could use a little more life force, a little more prana, a little more expansion where you breathe into, perhaps you place your hands there. I don't think I direct much breath into my lower back, so that's where I'm placing my hands. Maybe for you, it's your belly or the sides of your rib cage. If that's totally uncomfortable to place your hands there, it's just optional. And we're going to begin Samavriti Pranayama. So in the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali talks about there being 3 parts to breath control: the inhalation, the exhalation, and the holding of the breath. The holding of the breath is called kumbhaka. Now, if you're pregnant or have high blood pressure, you might pass on holding the breath part and just do the inhale and the exhale at your own count. So I'm going to count to 4 slowly as we breathe in through the nose. For those of you holding the breath, we'll hold for 4 counts, and then exhaling through your nose 4 counts if you can, otherwise to your mouth, and then hold the breath out, those of you holding the breath, for 4 counts. Again, if you're not holding the breath, just count in 4, out 4. So let's begin. Come back to that upright position, that relaxed body. Maybe turn the gaze inward by closing your eyes if that helps you visualize where and how you're expanding your breath. Let's take a breath to clear first. Inhale deeply. Exhale, clear it out. And now if you can, just breathing through your nose, hold the breath out. Slowly inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. In. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. In. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. In. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round. In. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Just breathe naturally for a moment to observe just how you feel in this time and space. Breathing in through your nose, full breath. And if you can, breathing out through your nose, equal length. Continue to balance your breath in and out without kumbhaka or the breath hold, but rather focus on a smooth transition between in and out breath, out and in breath. You may like to softly narrow the back of your throat for another pranayama called ujjayi, which means victorious breath. And it helps to warm up the body as we begin to move a little, creating a gentle whispering sound as you breathe in and out evenly through the nose. So with that, let's come down to all fours, hands and knees, moving the props aside. Prepare for a few rounds of cat-cow. As you spread your fingers flat on the earth, point your index fingers forward so they're parallel to each other, thumbs wide and flat. And with your wrists right under your shoulders, set your knees a couple inches behind your hips. to give the torso a little more space to move around. Take a slow inhale and glide your chest forward. Sliding your shoulders down, coil your chest up to the peak of the inhalation, look up. Now as you exhale, begin to round your back by contracting your belly, tucking the tailbone beneath, dropping your skull to round fully at the bottom of the breath. Really synchronizing. Inhale, again, lengthen the spine, chest forward. Peel the shoulders back, look up, tailbone up. As you exhale, start to hollow your belly, slowly tucking the tailbone and dropping the head, rounding at empty. And just like that, really fine-tuning how you're synchronizing at your own pace of inhale to arch into cow pose. And exhale to round into cat pose. About 5 more cycles of breath. Practicing ujjayi pranayama, use the sound. It helps to track how long to move the body. Notice how your shoulder blades are moving together and apart as well. And finish the last cycle of breath that you're on. Sinking your pelvis to your feet, bring your inner edges of your feet to touch. Open the knees as wide as needed. You may even want to grab a pillow to sort of bear hug and straddle between your thighs here. Perhaps add a block underneath your forehead as we pause in child's pose. You're going to be here for about 2 minutes, so really situate yourself comfortably. Arms can be hugging the pillow. They could be, I like to turn the palms face up so the elbows are resting on the floor and bent, as that helps to feel my shoulders release further down, away from the neck. You might prefer arms back beside your shins or thighs. So just find what your body is telling you feels good. And can you allow your pelvis to sink with each new breath? A little lower, a little further back, helping you to gently lengthen your lower spine. You also have the option of turning one ear to the side so that you're stretching your neck gently in this position. And if you've just done that, we're at 1 minute and 15 seconds left. So perhaps count 7 breaths before you switch to the opposite ear, leaning down. An even stretch on both sides of your neck. Finish one more cycle of breath right where you are. Then as you're ready, gently press your hands into the ground, drop your chin towards your chest. And as you engage the belly lightly, begin to roll your spine slowly upright to sit. We're going to make our way into a standing forward fold where your feet are a little wider than hips distance. You may want to have blocks in front of you, in front of your feet. Feet wider than hips width but parallel, bending your knees so much that your belly could make contact with your thighs and really your head could just fall very easily. Now decide what you'd like to do with your arms. If the front of your shoulders are a bit tense, you could interlace your fingers behind your back and stretch the arms forward a few breaths, maybe even shaking and nodding your head as you release your neck. Any way that you're folding here, can you lift your shoulder bones towards the sky, but let your skull be completely heavy, falling down, really opening up your neck. Some of you might prefer catching the outside of your right calf or ankle with both hands and just leaning into your outer right leg, perhaps straightening it a bit as the left knee bends more. This will give you a little more of a twist, side stretch, hamstring stretch. Whatever you do on one side, follow it up on the other. Just freestyling your forward fold here. You're just here for about a minute, not too long. Deep breaths into the nose. Some of you might just want to hang loose, perhaps catch hold of opposite elbows and gently sway your spine. If so, make sure your knees are bent enough to really feel supported in your back by your legs. Catching hold of opposite elbows, switch the clasp the elbow on top. And some of you might just want to freestyle it and shake it out. With very back knees, shake out the arms, shimmy out the shoulders, a little upside down shake. Just a great way to release any feelings of stagnancy or even in the mind. If there's thoughts weighing heavily of things you've had to do today, imagine pouring it out from the crown of your head into the ground, just letting it go, at least for this hour of practice. It can be helpful to flutter your lips a few times, especially if you tend to clench your jaw or have tension around there. It's inhaling through the nose and just letting the lips flutter. Now slowly, keeping the feet parallel and your knees bent, start to walk your hands up your legs, pressing your shins, firming the belly, pressing your thighs, lifting through the chest, and slowly rising all the way up to stand. And just pause there, let the blood settle back in the opposite direction. As you heel toe your feet a little closer together, about hips distance, just going to move a little bit in some half sun salutations here. Coming into a breath body synchronization. Take a slow inhale through the nose, arms resting by your sides. Slow exhale through the nose, that's your pace. As you ground through toes spread, heels rooted, inhale, circle your arms overhead, watch your palms touch at the peak of the breath. Bend your knees any amount needed, so as you exhale to fold slowly, it feels like you have a flat back. Press your fingertips down on blocks, the floor, or your shins. Inhaling as you lengthen your spine forward, belly firms in, shoulder blades glide back. Exhale as you bow even deeper, letting the head fall. Again, knees could be bent. Press down through your feet, lead with the chest as the arms rise, breathing in. Top of the breath, watch your palms meet. Exhale, trace your thumbs down the center line of your body, releasing your arms by your sides, palms face forward. Let's take 3 more cycles of Ardha Surya Namaskar. Inhale, circle your arms overhead, keeping your shoulders relaxed as you lift your heart. Exhale, bow forward, center is strong here, belly is lightly engaged to support the back. Press with your fingertips. Inhale, grow the sides of your torso, grow the mid of your spine. Exhale, fold with that long spine. Firm through the legs and belly. Inhale, rise, expand your wings, look up, palms touch. Exhale, trace your midline as though you're blessing your own body, blessing yourself, thanking yourself for showing up today in this practice. Inhale, sweep your arms high, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, draw your chest forward as you press with your fingertips, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold again, Uttanasana. Inhale, with stability, rise tall and expand. Back to Urdhva Hastasana. Blessing yourself, your body. Tadasana, mountain pose. We're going to take a gentle moving twist. This is actually a practice from Qigong. We learned it in our forgiveness workshop as it helps to detoxify the liver. You stand with your feet a little wider than hips distance. Open the arms like a T, palms face down, shoulders relaxed. Deep inhale. Cross one arm in front of you, doesn't matter which side you turn. And then sweep that arm as though you're reaching for something at shoulder level. Inhale, open the arms, come back to center. Exhale, cross the other arm, reach, look towards your fingertips. Inhale, center. Exhale, cross. So there's a spinal twist here. You're on the ball of the back foot. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist and reach. You're on the ball of the back foot. Inhale, follow your own pace of breath. Exhale, twist. Inhale, expand. Exhale, spiral. Inhale, expand. Exhale, spiral. Inhale, expand. Exhale, spiral. 2 more on each side. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Come back to center. Raise the arms overhead. And exhale, bring the palms to your solar plexus region, the upper belly, just beneath your lowest ribs. 2 more rounds. Inhale, arms up, open sky above, gathering energy from the space and world around you. Exhale, palms towards upper belly, navel center. Inhale, gathering energy from around. And exhale, taking it in to your center. Breathe where your palms are. Expand there. Expand the back area of your solar plexus chakra, Manipura, the center of healthy ego. Exhale deeply. And then we'll come on down. We're going to set up for a Supta Virasana. We're going to have a very similar setup as we did in the beginning with the blocks, but see if you might be able to make the blocks a little bit higher towards the rear edge of your mat. We're going to make a reclining chair here. So your pillow is slanting. And then as you come to sit with your shins on the floor, your knees together, notice how your knees feel. If you need more or less of a bend, you could use another pillow or folded blanket as a stool right between your ankles so that your ankles can still meet the outsides of your hips. They're framing your hips and all your toes are pointing back. You're fanning out your toes. Every toenail is on the floor, including the pinky toenails. That's important for knee health. And now if you're able to sit on your shins, you don't need a prop under your pelvis, that's fine. See if you might even be able to do this. Use your hands to roll aside your calves and then sit down on the ground right between your heels. Again, feet are facing the back wall, they're not turned out to the sides. And then scoot back so the back of your glutes is right up against that pillow. If you have another prop, you may like to cross it towards the bottom end of that pillow in case you're going to need a little more support as you start to lean back. Now, you don't have to lean all the way back. Some of you might already feel sufficient lengthening here of your quadriceps by being upright. And you could be right here in this pose. So really just feel into the amount you need to lean back. And if you do recline in Virasana, please make sure that your lower back is lengthening and not compressing. You can do so by imagining that your tailbone is lengthening down and forward, not tilting back. Tailbone is lengthening down and forward. Frontal hip bones are slightly lifting as if you have tiny suspenders lifting your frontal hip bones towards your lowest front ribs. Leaning back. Now, if you have a lot of pillows, you can stack as many as you need so that you can lean back comfortably. And now I'm going to set the timer. 3 minutes here. Now decide where your arms would like to be in this posture. And turn your palms face up, just down by your torso, down the sides. You could raise your arms overhead and catch hold of opposite elbows. Make sure that you switch sides though in about 1.5 minutes. You could set left hand on your heart center, just below your sternum, and right hand at your lower belly, your sacral energy center. What feels right for you as you continue to breathe consciously. Long inhales, just as long exhales. Massaging your breath into any areas that might need a little more of your attention, nurturing, vitality. Perhaps there are areas that have been carrying stress physically or emotionally or mentally. Or perhaps there are areas that don't receive much of your favorable attention. Finish the cycle of breath that you're on. And then gently, with the help of your hands, begin to lift your torso upright. Sliding your 2 legs out in front of you, releasing the backs of your knees. See if your legs want to move around or shake out. Maybe your feet want to circle or your thighs rotate inward and outward like windshield wipers. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Stick out your tongue in lion's breath as you exhale. So the mouth and eyes are wide open like this. And traditionally the eyes are crossed if you want to do that. Let's take 3 lion's breaths. Inhale, fill up your torso. Tongue out, let it go. Inhale deeply. Again, big release. Make a sigh if you like. One more time, inhale. And then from here, bend your knees as you're sitting up. Separate your feet about mat width, wider than hips width, and then drop your knees to your right side so that your right heel is touching just above your left knee on your thigh. And then now backstroke your right hand onto the ground behind you, behind your right hip, and then raise your left arm. Take a deep breath, lengthen through the center of your spine, and then twist to your right side. Now you could land your left hand on your left thigh. You could use the back of your left hand against the outside of your right thigh or your quadricep for more leverage. Not here too long, just about 7 deep breaths. Here, make sure that your eyes are directed at eye level. Chin is parallel to the ground. The shoulders are emptied of any unnecessary tension. Little spiraling action, especially at your mid-torso. Let's take one more deep breath. Then let's come back to center, sitting up again with your knees pointed up. Feet are wider than hips distance apart. Drop your knees both to the left side. Place your left heel just above your right knee, touching your thigh. Place your left hand just to the outside of your left hip on the floor. Raise your right arm. Take a deep breath and lengthen your spine upright. Exhale, twist to your left. Now right hand could land on right thigh. Back of right hand could press against the left thigh if you want more leverage. Just find the amount of oomph you need in this spinal twist. About 7 breaths. Notice in your attempt to perhaps deepen the twist, is there any tension accumulating in the shoulders, in the jaw, and the face? I'm asking because I noticed that mine is. So let that go, if so. And let's finish one more deep breath. And unwind back to center. Okay, we're going to take a variation of Baddha Konasana in which the feet are together, the knees are bent apart, but you'll slide your heels as far away from your pelvis as you can keep the feet naturally together. And then you'll grab whatever props, pillows, blankets, blocks, to bear hug or to rest your forehead on. You decide. It's fun, we get really creative with architecture and these yin postures. And then from here, take a deep breath. And it's okay to slightly round forward, but make sure you're not adding any heaviness to the shoulders as you're doing that. I'm going to set the timer here for just 2 minutes. Now, this is a posture that not only opens your hips, as you might already feel, or can help open your hips, depending on your body, but it can also target across your sacrum and help to broaden the lower back. You might feel it in your mid back. You might feel it in your upper back. So notice where you might be feeling something happening in this pose, something shifting or stretching a bit, or maybe there's a little bit of discomfort. Just make sure it's not pain. Wherever you might feel some difference in this posture, can you visualize your breath entering that crevice, that space? And remember when we blessed our bodies in the half-sun salutations, can you use your breath as though it were blessing that part of your body as well? Life force, saying to that part of your body, I see you. I love you. Breath enters that space, nurturing, shining the light of awareness, gifting space. And as the breath exits, helps to soften the area with grace. One more deep breath here. Now placing your hands on the ground, inhale, roll your spine slowly upright to sit, and find a comfortable way to sit for another pranayama practice before Shavasana. And this one was a request today, and it's alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana. So again, if you like to elevate your pelvis, do whatever you need so that you can feel grounded, base of your pelvis, base of your spine, tall and spacious throughout your torso, shoulders relaxed, and you may want to close your eyes, but we'll start together. And again, if you're not holding the breath for any reason, you'll just inhale and then exhale without the holds. So let me do a quick demonstration. We're going to use the right thumb, pinky, and ring finger in this variation, and left hand can be on your lap. If you like, you could take one of the mudras that we recently learned. The bliss body mudra, Anandamaya Kosha, is bringing all the fingers to touch except the pinky finger and resting that on your hand. And that's just tuning into that innermost layer of self that is of pure joy. Otherwise, you can bring thumb and index finger to touch. That's a good mudra for enhancing focus. Do what works for you. And then so we'll cover the right nostril with the right thumb, and we'll inhale about six counts slowly through the left nostril. If you're not holding your breath, you'll just go right into covering the left nostril with the pinky and ring fingers, and then you'll exhale to the right, then you'll inhale to the right, then you'll cover the right with thumb, and then you'll exhale to the left. So that's the pattern of it. Otherwise, I'll walk you through inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Here we go. Take a breath to clear out, in through the nose and out through the nose. Just breathing through the nose here. Hold the breath out. Right thumb covers right nostril. Inhale slowly through the left. Hold your breath in, about 3 counts. Cover left nostril with 2 fingers. Exhale slowly and gently through the right. Hold the breath out, about 3 counts. Inhale through the right. Hold it in. Cover right with thumb. Exhale gently and slowly through the left. Hold it out. Inhale left. Hold. Hover left, exhale right. Hold it out. Inhale right. Hold. Hover right. Exhale left. Hold. Inhale left. Hold. Hover left. Exhale right. Hold. Inhale right. Hold. Hover right. And exhale left. Hold it out. Release both hands and just sit with what you're feeling. Notice your ability to pay attention to what's here and now. Pranayama can be considered a form of meditation in that as you're immersed in the practice of controlling your breath, it's a way of bringing your mind to focus on one thing that is happening right now. Let's start to make our way into Shavasana. You may like to prop your legs up on pillows. You may like to drape a blanket over your body or cover your eyes with a strap. Get as comfortable as you can get. And remember that you have the freedom to stay in Shavasana for as long as you like, as long as you have the time to do so. To set yourself up. Before we begin a meditation practice, here's a quote by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. Meditation practice is regarded as a good and, in fact, excellent way to overcome warfare in the world, our own warfare, as well as greater warfare. Meditation is the ultimate goal of pranayama. And in fact, pranayama is our first step into formal meditation practice. Our work up to now has, to some extent, been external, coming from the third limb of yoga, the physical postures. With the yamas and niyamas, each of us must work out for ourselves where to draw the line and how we want to live our daily lives. In asana, the waters become clearer. There are no cultural or gender issues to be taken into consideration. Either you are balancing in tree pose or you're not. In the yamas and the niyamas and in asana, we begin to confront our demons. In pranayama, we take a stand. If we take responsibility for everything we do and do not do, we will authentically encounter our blocks to love. We will come to know the nature of our own war with reality, and we'll develop the willingness to let it go. If you'd like to sit up for 5 minutes of meditation, please allow your body to gently move however it needs to easily stretch. You might turn over to one side and eventually lift your body upright into a comfortable seat, Sukhasana. While the meditation practice here is unled, choose your point of focus to steady your attention on. Perhaps your natural flow of breath. And set the timer for 5 minutes. Visualizing your torso. Begin to pour in the breath from the base of your spine all the way up to your neck. And as you're ready through your mouth, let it go. Joining your palms to meet at your hearts and bowing in. May this practice of pranayama remind us of this powerful tool we have, our breath, in everyday life, to empower our presence and to empower peace. Let's close with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.